Cameras rolling? Or maybe drop this jewelry for nothing.
Yeah. We're live.
So, again, when you go through a fight, like I'm a diabetic. Anybody in the room diabetic?
My mama is.
Wow, it's like 1 out of 3 people. Somebody's diabetic here, I'm not trying to say it. They don't know it. Go to the doctor, everybody.
Probably don't know it. It's in my background.
But a lot of people are diabetic, and when I meet another diabetic, there's a connection there. We automatically family. And when you meet someone that's actually doing something that you're doing, fighting for independence, you know, taking their destiny and putting it in their own hand, not waiting for somebody to control it. Someone that actually has a dream and turns it into a reality. You know, what I've been saying lately is the death of a dream is when it becomes something tangible. It's not a bad death. You know what I mean? Something dies and that means something becomes alive. I believe that's the way the world works.
Right. Yeah.
So if I'm gonna celebrate death, it's gonna be because a dream came true. Let's do that. You have to control the narrative. It's the way you look at things. So when I see somebody doing that, doing what I'm doing, I know what they're going through. I know what it means to be fearless, to just say, fuck it, I'm gonna do it. And the problem is a lot of times culturally, we look at each other as competition as opposed to partners. Like, oh shit, if they doing it, then that means they might knock my spot out. They might, I gotta protect the plug because the plug's not our culture, and they only deal with one nigga at a time. That's how Netflix is, and it pisses me off. It's weird because Fox owns Tubi, and I would never expect Fox to be the outlet to give that kind of freedom. You know, where you can eat the food you kill, they get it. But anyway, we started to distribute films because I distribute my own, and I was like, this would be a great platform for other indie films. And Omar is on the street running. He's just doing nothing but living and breathing movies. He's like ill. Like if he was in the music business, he'd be the best A&R. But right now, he's head of acquisitions with Dave Dash Studio. And he told me about the film, and we're a rough crowd, we're very honest, so if he brings me some, I'm gonna be honest with him, we're gonna laugh, I'm gonna tease him, we're gonna have Zooms with everybody else, I'm gonna be making, so nobody comes to me with no, and he came through, I knew it would be good, or at least good enough, but also I didn't know how good you guys would promote. I was impressed with the promotion. I was impressed with just capitalizing off the opportunity. That's the best way to say thank you, is action. And I see this action. So, I'm gonna keep challenging you. And because of this movie, which to me is like a demo, we actually negotiated a deal to make another movie, and we're gonna start immediately. And I wanted her to be proof of concept of what this means, this independent spirit, and what it looks like when we stick together.
Yes.
So, I just wanted to say I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too.
I have some questions.
Go, shoot.
And then after that, me, I'm a guy that actually does therapy. When you have a consigliere in the street, that's your therapist. It's the person that can kind of give you advice without having a dog in the fight based on statistics. Having support's not a bad thing. So now that you're family, I want to make sure your mind is right. So I'm gonna have you talk to my therapist.
Got you.
Yeah. But my question is this: what inspired you to make this movie?
Well, first of all, I became an actor so that I could touch humanity without ever meeting them. That's my heart. That's where my creativity begins. The reason I made this movie in particular is because I always wanted to get into the psyche of a serial killer. I always wanted to figure out what makes them tick without judgment. Because I find that if you have less judgment, then you have more capacity to love. And so I wanted to make a serial killer lovable. That was why I initially signed on to do the film. Because I thought I want to do something unique that rids myself, that challenges myself to not have judgments.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, that's art, and I'm gonna tell you how I can connect with that. I don't know if you know this movie that I produced called The Woodsman. It was Lee Daniels' first movie, or second movie after Monsters Ball. and it was about a pedophile. Kevin Bacon played a pedophile. And when I read the script, I was like, there's nothing that can make me have any kind of compassion for a pedophile.
Right.
And when I read the script, I actually felt sorry for him. And I was like, wow, that was ill. So I understand that. Like, how do you have compassion for someone that you think is really
The darkest
the
of the dark,
darkest?
yeah.
It's finding the light in the dark,
Exactly.
actually.
Exactly.
So I love the art and that approach. How long did it take you to make this movie?
10 days, about 10 days with 2 days that were pickups.
So 12
So
days.
12 days, yeah,
How long did it take to edit?
a longer time. A much longer time. I would say about 8 months.
It's not long, relatively speaking. Even though I'm on one, I'm trying to finish it every few months. The acting was good. I was impressed with the acting. How did you identify the actors? Did they rehearse? What was the process?
So the process for really the casting process was bringing in people that I knew were good actors, that were professional. And
But how did you know?
I had either worked with them before or either personally trained them myself or I had seen some of their work. So that's how I ended up pulling in some of the actors that are in the movie. Like obviously Vincent Ward, I worked with him before. We actually did a movie that was to go to Lionsgate that didn't come out, which is why I love the fact that we're going independent and you actually say what you do what you say.
And you notice I put a couple movies out to Lionsgate
Yes,
and took them back.
right. And there's a reason for that.
The independent factor.
Yeah. So that was really why I wanted to work with certain individuals. You know, just seeing their work ethic. We really didn't rehearse our scenes. Everybody was so professional that it was, once we were ready to shoot, they knew their stuff. They knew
Okay,
their
movies,
lines.
nothing?
Set up the shot. I
I
knew.
mean, I do that all the time, but yeah.
Yeah. Set up the shot. Know what know what space you're moving in. But yeah, nobody was like off to the side
Did
rehearsing.
you tell everybody to come like camera ready? Did you have a wardrobe? Did they bring their own clothes? How'd
We
that
did
go?
have wardrobe, actually. Lorraine provided the wardrobe, Lorraine. And we did have some hair and makeup as well, but most of the people showed up camera ready, yeah. They were ready to rock. Which is important, I think, especially doing indie.
Yeah, shit.
Yeah.
Time is
Of
your enemy
essence.
and your friend.
Right,
You just have to make use of every second.
yeah.
How many hour days were you guys working?
Sometimes we push the 12-hour into 15, but yeah, I'd say approximately 10 to 12 hours.
Any blocking days before?
Not day before, no, just straight on the day of set. So whatever we were shooting, Ruben would set up the shot, tell us what exactly he was looking to capture, and then we go right into it. We do a shooting
The
rehearsal.
movie we're gonna do, I'm gonna block.
I'm down with that.
Next time, please do.
Yeah.
But it was good. It was great. It was really impressive. So, something concerns me a little bit.
Tell me.
You played that role a little too good. And, there's always something relatable,
Yeah.
like just, have you ever been that girl without the killing?
Without the killing. I've had moments where I've called people out for what I thought they were doing to me.
What does that look like? Calling people out.
A little bit like the hallway scene where she's going off and saying, oh, why don't you just say you regret it? Why don't you just, just basically like saying, why are you saying that we moved too fast when really essentially they're beginning to see that it's not really working for them, that the chemistry is no longer there, that it's like, I'm starting to lose interest.
And this is something you like, while you were popping stuff on your face, you were thinking through, like, why doesn't he call this stuff?
No, that stuff no. But the hallway scene where she's going off and saying, look, just tell me it's not working for you. Just tell me, like, you're not
But
feeling
what got you
this
to that
anymore."
point in real life that you said that? Did you like think that through, or was that like a reaction to
I think it was reaction. Yeah, it was a reactionary conversation for me at the time. I was young.
So you don't get in your head like that?
Not anymore, no.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
So you used to get in your
I
head?
did,
So that's why it was relatable.
yes.
Interesting. So was this like a form of therapy for you?
It was. It was. It was a form of therapy. Yeah, I was able to get out some of the, what was it, a cathartic release. Some of the things that I was feeling that were hurt, the places that I was hiding from myself. I got to go into my shadow self and really expose those parts, which was, I think that was probably the most vulnerable I've ever felt, was shooting this movie, to be able to expose the shadow side of oneself and put it out there for the world to see.
Can you explain your role as an executive producer?
Getting together the casting, doing rewrites with the script along with Lorraine, shooting it in my house, making sure that everything was on point. How quickly are we getting things done? Moving along, trying to balance both it was intense, but I learned a lot about my capacity to get things done. Bringing in some sponsorships,
Sounds like you're a producer.
something like that, yeah.
Well, the Oscar executive producer doesn't get it, the producer gets it.
Oh.
The Oscar for Best Film goes to the producers.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, with that said, is Taj back? Pause. Think of that?
Yep.
Are you back? All right, so again, we're family now,
Yes.
and the red flag was how good you played that role.
Gotcha.
So I want to make sure your mind is right. And I'd like you to talk to who I talk to. I think the thing about therapy is black people don't get it.
Mm-hmm.
They think it's a form of weakness, so when they study therapy, they don't study any black people. So when someone black actually wants to get it, it's the wrong therapy. You need someone that speaks your language. And
True.
this guy speaks our language.
Okay.
So I want him to come through. He has a show on Dave Dash Studios called Healing is Gangster. Because recognizing your
that.
weaknesses is nothing stronger than making yourself stronger.
I love
And
that.
the only way you make yourself stronger is to recognize your weaknesses. So I talked to him. I actually had to call him yesterday with a situation, and he helped me out. It made me feel better about what I did and how to approach it.
Was it a reaction you had? Or?
No. It was something with my daughters.
Okay.
My daughter, and I didn't know how to react to it. And I called him, and he was like, "This is how I would do it." And I was like, "Yeah."
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'm honored to be able to speak to your therapist today.
Yeah. So here, I want you to introduce yourself. This is my fam. We about to get to work. You know how I get down, so you know what my brain needs to be. So let's get it right if it's not, but I think it is. Like I told you, it smells like it is. We'll see if it's real. What's up? How you doing?
Hey, I'm excellent.
How y'all doing? What's up, y'all? I'm Tajay. I am a mental health professional, a registered mental health professional, marriage and family therapist.
Wow.
I'm also a doctoral candidate specializing in clinical psychology and trauma. I'm also your neighborhood therapist representing LA. So,
Letting us know that healing is gangster.
all day. And
I like that.
yeah, and the gangster part, a lot of people don't understand like the phrase of it, but where I come from is gangster to handle your business, and
Yep.
part of handling your business is making sure your mind is right.
Yeah. Agree.
Because if your mind ain't right, nothing else will be
Agree.
right. And it's often some of the most fearful things that you can come across is when you face yourself
Yeah.
and confront yourself, which is why I say it's gangster, because it's easy to face other people and tell them about their stuff. When you turn the mirror on yourself,
That's when it gets real. We both say the
Exactly.
same thing. Yes.
Exactly.
That's when it does get real. Yes.
But yeah, I was listening over there to you talk about like the way you made the movie and everything,
Yeah.
kind of like what brought your interest to it,
Mm-hmm.
and it got my ears raised a little bit because you're talking about the whole content of the movie, which revolves around serial killers
Yeah.
and things like that. That's kind of my alley
Oh,
a little
is it?
bit.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything that's psychological.
I love that. That's what I'm all about. Psychological thrillers. That's my jam.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I've had a lot of sessions with people who have played roles such as this,
Really.
or something that kind of tests them a little bit.
Yeah.
And I heard you say, kind of making the serial killer, I guess, more human.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
adding some compassion so we could see why she became this way.
Right. And what I find interesting about that from other people that I've talked to is that this mic's still on. I think this battery about
Oh,
to
there
die.
we go.
Yeah. But, what I find interesting about that is when you immerse yourself into that, are you a method actor?
I am,
Yeah.
yeah.
What
So all
happened?
those things on my face are all actually real that I created for the character during that preparation time.
Right. What I find in that situation is that it gets scary when you start to identify with the character that you're playing.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
And that can be scary when you're like, wait a minute, I identify
yeah,
with some of the things that this character is.
right, which is a necessity, but it's also
But yeah, but they're also
scary.
serial killers.
Right,
Right.
right.
So how was that for you, like dealing with like that whole aspect of it, of kind of getting to know this character, and how did it affect you personally? Like, if you're a method actor, that means
Yeah.
you become the character.
Right, right,
essentially.
right.
So how was
So,
that for you?
so one of the first things that I did in preparation is I started to research the mind and the mindset of a serial killer and where it comes from. Generally, is trauma.
Yeah.
Having said that, I actually called my family members and said, hey guys, in order to protect the space and the love that we have between each other, you're not going to hear from me for a couple weeks. To protect that space, because I knew that I was going to dive all the way in. The way that it affected me was realizing that serial killers are no different than any other human. We all have that capacity. It's in us. You or I might use it in the form of protection, where we're gonna protect somebody if they're being hurt and we might save their life. But for the serial killer, it's inverted. It's a space where they've been hurt, and so they're gonna mirror that hurt and make that other person feel the pain that they felt. And then because they've dissociated so much from themselves and that pain that they refuse to look at, then they find curiosity of the person reacting to the pain they've inflicted because they're so dissociated. So I found that extremely interesting because I found that the serial killer themselves is actually trying to understand those human emotions because they no longer own them. They've actually disowned themselves. So it was a very interesting process, and it helped me to understand, even like in little everyday moments where I'm not speaking my own truth, and say, you know what, hey, I don't want to hug right now, or whatever. I'm kind of disowning myself in those moments. So it helped me to look at that place of myself. Obviously, we're showing this character an extreme disownership to abandon oneself, but it allowed me to kind of realize in myself when I'm doing that to myself, even if it's in a tiny moment where I say, no, I don't want ketchup, don't worry about it, but I do, you know, just getting real honest about that.
No, definitely. I hear you about that. It seems like you got to know that character very well.
I did.
In the sense of what played into why they were like that.
Yeah,
Because with serial killers, it can be a lot of different things.
absolutely.
You know, it's neurological
Yes.
too.
Yeah.
There's a neurological aspect to it, and you know, there's a lot of different underlying issues depending. Because I like to look at every
Variation.
person
Yeah.
that I deal with separately,
Mm,
and you know, because everything, the perfect storm of your life makes who you are,
agree.
and that's biological, that's mental, environmental, all of that. So it seems like you got to know that character very well.
I did.
Because you were able to kind of pinpoint why they were like that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
did you identify with some of that in your life as far as like some of that trauma in that character?
I did, yeah. I also identified with that as well. I gave her, you know, a backstory, in which case her abuse was tremendous by both mother and father.
Yeah.
And I felt some of that as a child. Not necessarily, I won't pinpoint family members,
Yeah.
but I felt some of that trauma. And so I was able to relate with compassion to how this person could really, without seeking help, they could actually take it to that extreme and feel that they were vindicated somehow. So, yeah, I did. I was able to identify with some of the pain and the trauma that she went through, yeah.
Did that bring up any like, you know, trauma from the past that you might have not dealt with in a while, or you kind of disassociated from?
No, because I've been seeing a therapist for the last 5 years, so I've actually worked through that trauma. Yeah, Tina, she's amazing.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you that if you've ever been in therapy.
Yeah, for 5 years, and
Okay.
I still see her.
That's good.
Yeah, she's amazing. Yeah. So she's helped me work through that, and I think that the only way that I was able to play this character and not have it bleed over is because I worked through that trauma. And with method acting, you're taught that you can only play a drunk if you're not one. You can only play somebody that's abused and with trauma if you're no longer, if you're healed, if you're intact. So,
Well, most times you could, because you could find somebody. I mean, even like with hip hop, you know, a lot of the people that create the art form of hip hop are currently traumatized. They
Right.
haven't gotten over
Right.
their trauma. So, and their art is fantastic
sure.
because they're in the
Yep.
moment. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So I think you can be creative while you're going through it, but the same thing that's fueling that creativity could
Yeah.
also tear your life.
Agreed, as long as there's no separation.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm glad you said that you're in therapy.
Yeah.
And things like that. Talk about that process of therapy for you. Was that a difficult process for you? You know,
It was.
uh,
Yeah, it was. For me to realize that I first needed therapy, I now understand it was because of the fact that I relied too much on what other people thought of me rather than what I thought of myself.
right.
I was seeking love from others rather than seeking it from myself and finding the self-love. So I didn't understand that when I first started. I just thought, why am I always in pain? How can I stop this pain? And it wasn't until about the third year of therapy that my therapist said to me, and I started crying. She said to me, the love that you're seeking is the love that you can give yourself. And that's the only love that's never going to abandon you, that's never going to let you down unless you let yourself down, and that will always be there for you and has been there for you from the moment you're born to the day that you die. And that gave me such a sense of peace and security within myself that, hey, if I mess up, cool. If that person doesn't like me, cool. Then they might be dealing with something. I don't know. But I can't take that personally. And so having that process come about, I really feel like, you know, the lotus flower, it's found in the muck and the mire,
All right.
and then it blooms into the most beautiful flower. I really felt like the internal, spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical process of that self-acceptance was that of a lotus flower.
That's tight. Yeah, no, that's definitely, again, that's one of the best things about therapy.
Yeah.
You know, it makes you confront yourself,
Yeah.
and it gets crazy when you're doing that, but then at the end you see, you know, what you've done.
Yeah.
Was your therapist with you through the process of the movie, like filming it and kind of getting into that character?
She wasn't with me throughout the process. I checked in with her every once in a while, of course.
So I was going to ask about your process about coming down from that character.
Yeah, that's when I checked in with her. So in the meantime, I checked in with her and said, hey, you know, I really feel bad that I told my family I wouldn't be contacting them for a while. Is that okay? And she's like, yes, I think that you did it for their own protection and to protect yourself. Like essentially giving me permission to make the choices that I made. And then having come down from it, that's when we did more sessions. Because I really needed to begin to get back to myself, which took a while. It took a while. I'd say it took me about a month to really get back into my skin and my thoughts. And when I got back fully, I was like, I love being myself.
No, that's dope. And congratulations to you on everything that you've done.
Thank you.
And congratulations on your journey through therapy
Yeah,
and dealing
I
with
recommend
some trauma.
it to everybody.
Definitely, because you see it a lot, especially in the creative space with actors and you know, people who make music who don't deal with their emotions
Right.
outside of that
Right.
creative space.
Yeah.
It gets crazy.
Agreed.
You know, no amount of money.
Can fix that. Yeah,
No,
yeah.
yeah,
They
right.
got to do the work.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, anybody that knows me knows, like my sister-in-law, Hannah, she knows I'm a mental health advocate. It's something I'm always encouraging people to do. Go to therapy, figure it out, learn to love yourself. You know, it's something that I'm hoping to inspire others to do because it's such an important process in life.
absolutely, and I hope, you know, as you continue your journey through this field that you're in, that you continue to advocate for that. And, it's important, especially in this industry.
Absolutely.
So congratulations on the movie.
Thank you.
Congratulations on everything that you're doing.
Thank you.
And you got my seal looking cool.
I appreciate
Damn,
that.
she's straight. That's all you have to.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you. It's nice to talk to somebody who knows these terms and knows what I'm talking about. Because sometimes, having gone to therapy for 5 years, it's like I talk about dissociation or this or that, and they're like, huh? Yeah, they're like, huh? What do you mean? But you learn those terms as you continue to go to therapy and learn about yourself and about the process.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And more important than the terms is the actual, just putting it into action.
Yes, yes,
You know what I mean?
yes.
So,
Well, I appreciate that.
yeah, that was easy.
The seal.
So yeah, no doubt. So again, I look forward. I didn't get to catch the whole thing.
I'm sure you'll watch it.
Yeah, I look forward to it.
Yeah.
It sounds really interesting.
Yeah.
So dope. Let's get it. Dame Dash Studios. You know what it is.
What's going on?
Man, how you doing tonight? What a moment, right?
Yes, this is a great moment, seeing, the final edit on the big screen. It's good.
You're like taking it all in, like this is happening. We're here at Dame Dash Studios.
Absolutely. It's good. It's great.
Phenomenal, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you and I met on another film set.
Like 10 years ago.
Yes, we won't name the name of the film,
Right.
but we met on that film. I did not know that you were going to be pulled in as director.
Damn.
Having said that, when I saw you and you mentioned that to me, I was like, oh my gosh, yes, I do remember you.
Right.
So you knew before I did that we were going to be working together, and knowing that we had worked together before. What did you think of that when you found out that I was going to be playing the lead of this film?
Well, I've seen your work over the, several years, so I know it was going to be good. It was going to be a good thing. I think me and you, our dynamic was going to match well.
Yeah.
And we did.
We did.
Yeah, we really clicked.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. That's the biggest part of the process that I personally enjoyed, was working with you without having restraints. I've worked
Right.
on network TV, I've worked on big budget films, studio pictures, and there's a level of restriction that doesn't allow for the wings to kind of, like I said, you were the wings, right? You gave me my wings to be able to just do what it is I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So how did that happen for you, as far as like you just allowing certain things to happen, knowing when to step in, knowing when to step out with different actors?
Well, I'm a good judge of character. I know when we go on set, I kind of, even when you're not even paying attention, I'm paying attention to you, right?
That's
so,
me. I'm like scared now.
So
What did you
I
peep? What did you
kind of see before we shot, it was brown-eyed Leanna. I was talking to Leanna Mendoza, but when we got on set, blue-eyed Lisa came. I was like, oh, what? Who are you? So once I see that you're, I understand method acting as well.
That's
So when
important.
I saw what you were doing and how deep you were going in, I was like, okay, do your thing. When I need to say something, I will.
Yeah.
And every time even if you asked me, was that cool? That's what I said, yeah, you're great. Even I called you Lisa.
Yeah, you did, which was helpful.
Yes,
Super
yes.
helpful.
So I just let you just do your thing, and then you were just hitting points where I didn't even have to say anything to you, which was great.
Cool.
And then you took, when I gave you direction, you took it, and you just took it to the next tier, and it just made everything smooth
Nice.
for me. So
That's
I really enjoyed it.
I'm so glad that
Yes.
you enjoyed the process, because I want to work with you again, that's for sure.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So what did you think when you read the script, I'm assuming, before you signed on?
Mhm.
What did you think when you read the plot? Did you right away know she's mentally disturbed, or did you?
Yeah, I thought she was demented, psychopath, and I was looking forward to seeing how this was going to pop on the screen.
Come to life.
Yeah, and then you did instantly. It's like I was talking to you, and then the next day, you just had this mood about you, right?
I was gone.
I was like, oh, okay, I I see what's going on, and I just let you just kind of just ride through it. Just do your thing.
Yeah.
You know, if it was issue, you know, we had some challenges.
Sure.
I mean, just being transparent, we had little challenges, but in the midst of that, you would still be able to be professional and do what you need to do to really make Lisa come to life.
I appreciate that.
And you did that, and everybody was so professional. You know, I just want to give props to your husband. You know what I mean? Because Gabe he's an upstanding dude. He's
Yeah.
a good dude. You know what I mean? So to deal with that element,
Yeah.
because after we're gone, he's
Right.
with you.
He has to see me come down from
Right.
Yeah.
And so the coming down is like, I know that had to be a challenge, but I mean, it was a process.
Yeah.
And I can see when we were rapping how you were still there, but you were starting to come down.
Yeah.
Slowly but surely.
Yeah. That was very important to me to come down at least to a certain degree every day, so
Yeah.
that I could live my life a little bit while we rapped for the day, and then not be so intolerable around my family, right?
Yeah, but once you were out of it and you were doing other things like we were taught, it was you again.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
So,
So I know you worked with Vincent before.
yeah.
A lot. How was this, or was it any different on this film than all the others?
Well, with this particular role, this was more, we never did a psycho thriller before. It was mainly like drama, a little bit of comedy here and there. So this was a different element for me.
Okay.
So approaching him. But I've worked with him, we met in 2008, and since 2010, we've been working off and on. It seemed like every other year we're doing something.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And so I know his vibe, I know his get down, so I trust him. I don't have to give him too much. And so when you have people like that in your life that comes into what you're trying to accomplish, it makes my job a lot easier. You know what I mean? And if we have issues, we talk out,
Yeah, you work
we talk it,
yeah.
we talk through it, and we just continue to do what we do.
And would you say that most of the actors that you work with on this particular set, Adam Mendoza, of course, Link Johnson,
Darren.
Darren Weiss, would you say that they brought that same element of like, that you could trust them as an actor, that you could trust them, set up the shot, do whatever it is that you needed to do blocking, and then just say, okay, go.
Yeah,
See what you create.
especially like the first night with Slink and Vince's dynamic, and with your brother Adam. I mean, all that was pretty tense, because we had the element where we were in a location that we had to get out of
Oh, that's right, yeah.
at a certain time, right? And then we had to deal with all these shots, and it was a little crazy, but we got through it. But because the guys were so professional and they took direction well,
Yeah.
we got out of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it was probably one of my favorite scenes with Slink and
That was
Adam.
fun.
Yeah, that was really good.
That was so
Yeah.
funny, yeah. I love that, even when I see it all the hundreds of times I've already seen the film. I mouth the words right
You know
along with
verbatim,
it.
right?
Yeah. When Adam closes the book, he's like, that's okay, because he's giving us records to he's giving us the whole shot. I'm like, oh, okay. He like closes the book. I'm like, okay, yeah.
And he
you're
was so
right.
cool. Like
Right.
when Vince said, what the fuck does that mean? He was like, no, wait, hey,
Right.
like, relax. You know?
We're just here to figure some stuff out.
Yeah, it was cool. So when he did that, I was looking at the monitor. I was like,
Yeah. Because they brought that real detective vibe where they just play it cool, but they know they're trying to screw that person over.
absolutely.
It was very real, yeah. Wow. Well, it was a pleasure working with you. I hope we
Absolute
work
pleasure
again.
working. Let's do it sometime soon.
Yes, I'm so down with that.
I'm with you. Let's
Do
go.
it.
All right.
Let's rock.
Appreciate it.
Are we still live? Hey everybody, how's everybody doing out there? We good? Hey. People are waving hi. Hi. We're seeing requests. Okay.
That reminds me of a scene.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So who else we got here? You know, since we're having fun, are we gonna cue up the music now?
Yeah.
What's next?
Sorry. Sorry about that.
So we're gonna do a performance now. You know, like I said, I do music for therapy, and there's also, because I'm doing a lot of things, there's always musicians around me. So every Thursday, we usually rehearse, but it's Thanksgiving tomorrow, so we're gonna rehearse today. But the performance you're gonna see is from a new artist, a rock artist. His name is Edgar. He's gonna do a set for you. And then we'll have more surprises as well. Stick around, whatever, you know, no pressure. Either way, we're gonna rock out. So enjoy, appreciate your show. I appreciate you doing your show.
Yeah, you gave me the rocket ship.
Yeah, you know, you took it for a ride.
I did.
How was it?
It was a real smooth ride.
Good.
I liked it. I liked it.
And, you know, I appreciate the film. I'm looking forward to our new partnership.
Yes.
And, you know,
Rock on
rock
the
on.
next one. Yeah.
Yeah, rock on. So stay tuned. We'll probably take a little, little intermission. Relax for a second. The band will plug up. And then we're going to get busy. All right?
If you want another amazing video with the one and only Dame Dash, check it out right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.